The Montana sky stretched endless and empty above Special Agent Diana Reeves as she stepped out of her government-issued SUV. The crisp autumn air carried the scent of pine and something else, something metallic that made her skin crawl. 20 years with the FBI's Unexplained Phenomena Division had taught her to trust these instincts. 3 people had vanished from this remote area in the past week. No bodies, no evidence, just empty homes and cars left running in driveways. The local police were baffled, but Diana recognized the pattern. It matched similar cases across the country, cases that always coincided with reports of unusual drone activity. Agent Reeves. A tall man in a sheriff's uniform approached, his boots crunching on the gravel. Sheriff Tom Bradley. Thanks for coming out here. Diana shook his hand, noting the dark circles under his eyes. Tell me about the latest disappearance. They walked toward a modest farmhouse while Bradley explained. Richard Martinez, 45, local rancher. Wife said he went to check on the cattle yesterday morning. Found his truck parked by the north fence, engine still warm. He paused, wrestling with his next words. She said she saw something hovering over the field before he disappeared. Something big. Inside her jacket pocket, Diana's electromagnetic field detector hummed to life. She'd started carrying it after the incident in Oregon last spring, where similar readings had preceded 3 disappearances. The needle pushed into the red zone. Sheriff, I need to see that field. The north pasture stretched before them, tall grass swaying in the wind. Diana's detector screamed, the readings off the charts. She knelt, examining the ground. Geometric patterns, barely visible, marked the earth in perfect hexagons. What the hell? Bradley muttered, crouching beside her. Diana touched the patterns. The soil felt wrong, crystallized, almost glassy. Her phone buzzed, a message from her contact at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Satellite imagery had captured something in the atmosphere above Montana. Something that didn't match any known aircraft. Back at her temporary office in the local police station, Diana spread out her evidence. Photos of the geometric patterns, EMF readings, satellite data, and witness statements covered the walls. She'd seen fragments of this puzzle before, but never so many pieces in one place. Her secure laptop chimed, new drone sightings, just reported. These weren't amateur quadcopters or military surveillance. Witnesses described silent, black shapes that moved like living things, with surfaces that seemed to ripple and change. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. A woman in a lab coat entered, carrying a sealed container. Agent Reeves. I'm Dr. Rachel Santos from the State Forensics Lab. You need to see this. The container held soil samples from the pasture. Under microscopic analysis, the crystallized patterns revealed structures that defied known physics. The molecular arrangements suggested technology far beyond current human capabilities. Diana's phone rang, another disappearance, this time in Idaho. Same patterns, same readings. The drones were moving west, following some invisible path. She felt the familiar surge of adrenaline, the thrill of pursuit. After 20 years, she might finally have proof of what she'd always suspected: we were not alone, and we were being studied. As night fell over Montana, Diana watched the stars through her office window. Somewhere up there, someone or something was watching, testing, waiting. The drones were just the beginning, tools of an intelligence that saw humanity as subjects in a vast experiment. Her detector hummed again, stronger than before. Outside, the sky flickered with strange lights. Diana grabbed her gear, heart pounding. The real investigation was about to begin, and this time, she wouldn't let them slip away. The truth was up there, hidden behind the disguise of simple drones. And Diana Reeves was going to find it, no matter the cost. Dr. James Harrison hunched over his quantum spectrometer in the basement lab of Montana State University, his tired eyes fixed on readings that shouldn't be possible. The energy signatures from Agent Reeves' field samples defied every known law of physics. "You need to see this," he called to Diana, who stood examining the wall of data they'd compiled over the past week. The patterns on his screen pulsed with an almost organic rhythm, like a heartbeat in digital form. "The molecular structure isn't just advanced," he explained, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "It's adaptive. These aren't just remnants of some alien technology, they're still active, still changing." Diana leaned over his shoulder, her expression grave. In the week since their first discovery, 4 more disappearances had been reported across the western United States. Each site showed identical crystalline patterns, each victim vanishing without a trace. "Look at this," Harrison continued, pulling up a global map dotted with red markers. "I cross-referenced your FBI database with atmospheric anomalies recorded by weather stations worldwide. The drone sightings aren't random, they're following a precise geometric pattern, like points on a vast grid." Diana's phone buzzed, another message from her NASA contact. Satellite imagery had captured something new, massive energy signatures in low Earth orbit, perfectly aligned with Harrison's grid points. Whatever was controlling the drones, it was coordinating from above. "It's a survey," Harrison whispered, the realization hitting him. "They're mapping something about us, about Earth." "But what?" Their discussion was interrupted by a violent tremor in Harrison's instruments. Every sensor in the lab screamed to life at once. Above them, the basement lights flickered and died. "They're here," Diana breathed, pulling out her detector. The readings were stronger than anything she'd seen before. They raced up the stairs and out into the university parking lot. The night sky pulsed with an otherworldly light. 3 black shapes, each the size of a small bus, hovered silently overhead. Their surfaces rippled like liquid metal, reflecting and absorbing light in impossible ways. Harrison's spectrometer whirred frantically. "The energy output, it's not just advanced technology. These things are somehow tapping into the quantum field itself. They're manipulating reality at its most fundamental level." Diana raised her phone, capturing video evidence, but the drones seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No matter how she adjusted her camera, they remained indistinct, like holes cut from the fabric of space. Suddenly, one of the drones descended, stopping 50 feet above them. A beam of deep purple light emerged from its underside, sweeping the ground in a precise pattern. Where it touched, the same crystalline hexagons formed instantly in the asphalt. "Don't move," Diana whispered, but Harrison was already stepping forward, his scientific curiosity overwhelming his caution. The beam shifted, focusing on him. "The frequency," he gasped, staring at his instruments. "It's not just scanning, it's communicating. These patterns, they're a language." Before Diana could react, the beam intensified. Harrison's spectrometer exploded in a shower of sparks. The air crackled with invisible energy, and a high-pitched tone filled their heads, just on the edge of human hearing. Then, as suddenly as they had appeared, the drones shot upward and vanished, leaving only the geometric patterns and the lingering scent of ozone. Harrison stood trembling, his face pale but his eyes alive with excitement. "Agent Reeves," he said, his voice shaking, "I think I know what they're looking for. These aren't just surveillance drones, they're probes, testing our ability to comprehend their technology. And I think they just found what they were looking for." Diana stared at the patterns burning in the asphalt, her mind racing. 20 years of searching, and now the evidence was literally at her feet. But with each discovery, the mystery only deepened. What were these beings planning? Why the elaborate test? And most importantly, what would happen when humanity finally passed, or failed, their cosmic examination? Back in the lab, Harrison worked feverishly to decode the patterns while Diana coordinated with her global network of investigators. The pieces were falling into place, but time was running out. Somewhere above them, watching and waiting, an intelligence beyond human comprehension was moving into the next phase of its plan. The captured drone lay on the reinforced examination table like a fallen angel, its liquid metal surface still rippling faintly under the harsh laboratory lights. Fort Detrick's most secure facility had been cleared for this moment, leaving only Diana, Harrison, and Dr. Victoria Patel, the military's leading expert in advanced propulsion systems. "It's dying," Patel announced, her dark eyes fixed on the complex array of sensors surrounding the alien craft. "Whatever powers it is failing. We need to work fast." They had captured it through sheer luck, or perhaps by design. A massive electromagnetic pulse from a freak lightning storm had brought it down in the Cascade Mountains. Diana still couldn't shake the feeling that it had been too easy, like finding an unlocked door in a fortress. "Look at this," Harrison called from his workstation. "The quantum signature is changing. It's adapting, even in its damaged state." He pushed his glasses up, eyes wide with wonder. "It's like watching evolution in real time." Diana approached the drone cautiously. Up close, its surface was mesmerizing, patterns flowing like oil on water, but with an underlying structure that seemed to follow the same hexagonal geometry they'd found at the disappearance sites. "We've identified something extraordinary," Patel said, pulling up a holographic display. "The craft doesn't just use energy, it processes it. Like a living computer, but operating on principles we barely understand. And there's something else." She hesitated, glancing at Diana. "We found traces of human genetic material embedded in its processing matrix." The implications hit Diana like a physical blow. The disappearances, they weren't just taking people, they were sampling them. Harrison nodded grimly. "Not just their bodies. These readings suggest they were somehow capturing and storing human consciousness itself. Like downloading minds into their quantum network." A low hum filled the lab, emanating from the drone. Its surface began to pulse with an inner light, patterns shifting faster now, more urgently. "It's receiving something," Patel gasped, her instruments going haywire. "A signal, but like nothing we've ever seen. It's everywhere, coming from every direction at once." The drone's surface suddenly became transparent, revealing a complex internal structure that defied conventional geometry. Inside, what looked like streams of liquid light flowed through crystalline channels, carrying information in patterns that made Diana's eyes hurt to look at. "My God," Harrison breathed, studying the readings. "It's not just a drone, it's a node in a vast network. And it's showing us everything." Through the transparent shell, they watched as the liquid light formed images, star maps, mathematical equations, and something else, human faces, hundreds of them, including those of the missing. "They're not dead," Diana realized. "They're part of it now." The disappearances weren't abductions, they were uploads. The drones were looking for compatible minds, people who could understand and adapt to their technology. The holographic display erupted with new data as the drone's internal systems connected with their computers. Symbols and equations filled the air around them, each one a piece of a vast cosmic puzzle. "This is incredible," Harrison said, his fingers flying over his keyboard. "They're not just studying us, they're preparing us. These equations, these principles, they're teaching us how their technology works. But why show us now?" Diana's phone suddenly chirped, a priority alert from her global monitoring network. "Because we're running out of time. Something massive just entered the solar system. Multiple objects, bigger than anything we've seen before. They'll reach Earth in less than 72 hours. The drone's surface rippled one final time before becoming still, its purpose apparently fulfilled. But the data kept flowing, filling their systems with information that would take years to fully understand. "So what do we do now?" Patel asked, looking from the drone to the endless stream of alien knowledge flooding their computers. Diana straightened, her jaw set with determination. "We learn. Fast. Because I don't think this was just a test anymore. I think it was preparation, and now we need to prove we're ready for whatever comes next." Harrison was already deep in the data, his expression a mix of awe and concern. These beings, whoever they are, they're not just advanced, they're post-biological. They've merged consciousness with technology in ways we can barely comprehend. And now they want us to join them. Or resist them, Diana added quietly, watching as more alerts lit up her phone. Around the world, other drones were falling, each one downloading its vast store of knowledge before shutting down forever. The game had changed. What started as an investigation into mysterious disappearances had become a crash course in cosmic evolution. Humanity stood on the brink of either transcendence or extinction, and they had 3 days to figure out which. In the center of the lab, the drone's surface had become mirror-smooth, reflecting their own faces back at them, but somehow different, enhanced, as if showing them what they could become. The choice, it seemed, would be theirs to make. Inside the hastily assembled command center beneath Fort Detrick, Diana watched as global defense systems lit up like Christmas trees. Military installations worldwide were tracking the approaching alien vessels, 7 massive objects, each larger than Manhattan, moving in perfect geometric formation. "We've decoded another section of the drone's data," Harrison announced, his voice hoarse from hours of non-stop work. Beside him, Dr. Patel nodded in agreement, her usually immaculate lab coat wrinkled from 2 days without rest. "It's not an invasion force," Harrison continued, projecting a complex holographic model. "These ships, they're more like massive consciousness processors. They're designed to facilitate the merger between biological and quantum intelligence." General Marcus Wade, newly arrived from the Pentagon, scowled at the display. "Merger or extinction, Doctor? Because from where I'm standing, this looks like the prelude to an invasion." Diana stepped forward, her voice steady. "If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already. Their technology is centuries beyond ours. This is something else." The command center's main screen flickered with new data as more drones across the planet activated, downloading their stored knowledge before shutting down. Each release brought new understanding, and new questions. "Look at this," Patel called, highlighting a section of code. The pattern of disappearances, they weren't random samples. They were creating a neural network, a human-based quantum web prepared to interface with their systems. The missing people, Diana realized. They're still alive, just transformed. And now they're reaching back to us. As if in response, every screen in the command center suddenly filled with faces, the missing, hundreds of them, their expressions serene but somehow other. When they spoke, it was in perfect unison, their voices carrying harmonics that made the air itself vibrate. "We are the bridge," they said. "The connection between what humanity is and what it could become. You have a choice to make." General Wade reached for his phone, but Diana stopped him. "Wait. Listen to them. Your species stands at a crossroads," the voices continued. "The beings you call aliens are the architects. They travel the cosmos, seeking species ready to transcend their biological limitations. We are proof that humanity is capable of this leap." Harrison's instruments were going crazy, recording energy signatures that defied physics. "The quantum field is fluctuating. They're not just communicating, they're changing the fundamental structure of spacetime around us." The faces shifted, showing glimpses of what they had become, consciousness freed from physical form, existing in a state of pure energy in information. "The coming ships are not weapons, but gateways. They offer access to a network of minds spanning galaxies. But transformation cannot be forced. It must be chosen. And if we refuse?" Wade demanded. "Then they will leave," the voices replied simply. "And humanity will continue on its current path, alone." Diana felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. 20 years of searching for the truth about alien life, and now she stood at the precipice of the greatest decision in human history. "How long do we have to decide?" she asked. 36 hours. When the ships arrive, they will open the gateways. Those who wish to transcend may do so. Those who wish to remain as they are will be respected. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Wade immediately began barking orders into his phone, mobilizing forces worldwide. But Diana knew conventional weapons would be useless against what was coming. "We need to tell everyone," she said firmly. "No more secrets, no more hiding the truth. Humanity deserves to know the choice they're being offered." Harrison was already compiling the drone data into a format that could be shared globally. "The question is, what will they choose? Evolution or isolation? Transformation or tradition?" "Both," Patel said quietly. "Don't you see? That's what makes humanity unique. We don't have to choose one path for everyone. We can take both." Diana nodded slowly, understanding dawning. The architects hadn't come to force a single choice on humanity. They had come to offer options, to let each individual decide their own fate. As the command center buzzed with activity, Diana stepped away to make the most important phone call of her life. The president needed to address the world, and soon. 36 hours to prepare humanity for a decision that would reshape not just their future, but their very nature. Outside, the night sky shimmered with unusual colors as the approaching ships began affecting Earth's atmosphere. Time was running out, and the greatest choice in human history loomed before them. Would they reach for the stars and transform themselves into something new? Or would they remain as they were, watching as others took that leap? The massive alien ships hung in the sky like geometric mountains, their surfaces shimmering with impossible colors. 36 hours had passed since the announcement, and humanity had made its choices, millions of individual decisions that would reshape the future of our species. Diana stood on the roof of Fort Detrick, Harrison and Patel beside her, watching as the first gateway opened. A spiral of light descended from the nearest ship, touching down in the designated zone 20 miles away. Similar scenes were playing out at locations across the globe. "The quantum field measurements are off the charts," Harrison muttered, his instruments struggling to process what they were seeing. "They're not just creating portals, they're rewriting the laws of physics in localized areas." The president's global address had been surprisingly well received. After the initial panic and disbelief, humanity had shown remarkable adaptability. Religious leaders spoke of divine plans, scientists saw the opportunity of millennia, and ordinary people made their choices based on personal convictions. "Latest numbers are in," Patel reported, checking her tablet. "Roughly 15% of the global population has chosen to transcend. The rest will remain." She paused, looking at Diana. "Have you decided?" Diana watched as the first volunteers approached the nearest gateway. They walked with purpose, some afraid but determined, others serene. Among them were soldiers, scientists, artists, teachers, a cross-section of humanity, each bringing their unique perspectives to the cosmic consciousness they would join. "I'm staying," Diana said finally. "Someone needs to maintain the bridge between those who go and those who remain. Someone needs to help us understand each other." The transformation process was beautiful and terrifying to witness. As each person entered the gateway, their physical form began to shimmer, becoming translucent, then transparent, then transforming into pure energy that spiraled upward into the ships. But they weren't gone, their consciousness remained, linked to the quantum network that now surrounded Earth. Harrison adjusted his glasses, watching the process with scientific wonder. "They're not just changing form, they're evolving into beings of pure energy and information, capable of existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Yet they retain their human consciousness, their memories, their essential selves." The air crackled with energy as more gateways opened worldwide. The architects had kept their word, no force, no coercion, just choice. Those who chose to remain would continue their lives, but now with access to the knowledge left behind by the drones and a new understanding of their place in the cosmos. Suddenly, the quantum field shifted. The faces of the transformed appeared in the sky, visible to everyone on Earth. Among them were the originally missing people, the pioneers who had unknowingly blazed this trail. Their voices joined in a harmony that touched something deep in the human soul. "We remain human," they said, "but we are also more. We will explore the cosmos, learn its secrets, and share what we discover. Those who stay behind will not be abandoned. You are part of this journey too, walking a different but equally valid path." Diana's phone buzzed with messages from around the world. The pattern was the same everywhere: peaceful transformation, peaceful acceptance. Humanity had faced its greatest test and proved itself worthy not through uniformity, but through diversity of choice. "Look," Patel gasped, pointing to the ships. Their surfaces had begun to transform, becoming more organic, more alive. "They're adapting to incorporate human consciousness. We're not just joining their network, we're changing it too." As the day wore on, the processes continued. Those who chose transcendence evolved into their new forms, while those who remained began the work of incorporating the gifted knowledge into human society. The ships would stay in orbit, maintaining the connection between the two forms of humanity. Diana felt a deep sense of rightness. This wasn't an end, but a beginning, humanity splitting into two complementary paths, each enriching the other. Earth would become a nexus point, a place where the physical and the transcendent could meet and learn from each other. "So what now?" Harrison asked, as the sun began to set on this most extraordinary of days. Diana smiled, watching as more people made their choice, each gateway a door to possibility. "Now we build the future, both futures. We learn to be two species and one family. We explore what it means to be human, whether in flesh or energy." Above them, the ships pulsed with new light, no longer alien, but a hybrid of their original nature and human consciousness. The transformed humans were already beginning to explore their new existence, sending back discoveries that would help those who remained to advance their own understanding. The drones weren't just testing us, Diana realized finally. They were teaching us that evolution isn't about everyone taking the same path. It's about having the wisdom to embrace multiple paths forward. As night fell over Earth, two forms of humanity looked toward the stars together, one reaching out to touch them directly, the other preparing for a slower but equally profound journey. The choice hadn't divided them, it had multiplied their potential. The investigation that had begun with mysterious disappearances had led to humanity's greatest discovery, not just of alien life, but of their own unlimited potential. The truth had indeed been out there, but the real revelation had been within themselves all along.